Would Kyrie Irving really want to come to the Mavericks? Apparently, it may not be as far-fetched as we may have first thought. This is Inside the Mavs right here on Kevin Gray Sports. My name is Kevin Gray. You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Be sure to hit that subscribe button right there. For all things Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube, you can catch me on your home with the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers, 105.3 The Fan. Of course, Mavericks Insider for 105.3 The Fan. Quote, ESPN sources, if Kyrie Irving can't reach an agreement to stay with Brooklyn, he has a list of teams to consider on sign and trades, including the Lakers, the Clippers, the Knicks, the Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers, and yes, the Dallas Mavericks. This according to super insider Adrian Wojnarowski for ESPN. None of these teams, of course, have cap space to sign him without the Brooklyn Nets' help. Now, those are the teams who Irving has interest in, but he isn't necessarily a priority for all of them, sources tell Adrian Wojnarowski. You want to talk about a bombshell. There's so many layers to all of this. First of all, the fact that we've gotten to this point with Kyrie Irving that it's gotten very real that he may not be a member of the Brooklyn Nets going into next year, and what does that mean for Kevin Durant and him staying in Brooklyn as well? That's for the Nets to worry about. On the Mavericks front, this is the precise reason why Nico Harrison was brought in as the general manager of the Dallas Mavericks, because of the relationships that he has across basketball. If you remember, Kyrie is a Nike guy who was running things at Nike during the course of Kyrie Irving's career before he became a general manager for the Mavericks. Nico Harrison. So you know that there's strong relationships there because of Kyrie being a Nike guy, and obviously with Nico Harrison running things in terms of operations for Nike while he was there. So there's that obvious connection. There's another one in the fact that Jason Kidd, who is a former NBA championship player, has gotten his team now to the Western Conference Finals for the first time as head coach, and for the first time since 2011. There's obviously success brewing in Dallas that may make it attractive for Kyrie Irving to want to come to Dallas. And then there's the most obvious part, Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is one of the 5 best players running for the last 3 years as virtue of his first team All-NBA selections for each of the last 3 years. He's going to be a perennial MVP candidate for the next several years. And more importantly, for the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie Irving provides you something that you desperately need. A go-get-a-bucket guy that can do it at a high level, at a co-star, all-star-like level in Kyrie Irving. Now, you say, Kevin, pump the entire brakes here. Kyrie Irving is unreliable. He cannot be the best guy that you want to have in your locker room. And he's not a guy that you necessarily can feel like you can count on long term, even if you feel like the talent is worth squeezing the juice out of Kyrie Irving to bring him to Dallas, to which I say, I understand. But here's the thing. If you believe in the Mavericks culture and what they're building with Jason Kidd, Nico Harrison, and Mark Cuban running this team while Luka Doncic being the primary superstar, and how guys who have come into this organization, i.e. Spencer Dinwiddie, who has lauded the idea of what the Mavericks are building culture-wise, you may think that the Mavericks culture that they have can withstand that of Kyrie Irving because the talent is just too good to possibly pass up. Now, you say, Kevin, it doesn't make financial sense. The only way that you can get Kyrie Irving to Dallas is on a sign and trade. Well, there's a guy that you may think about possibly signing and trading in Jalen Brunson because of where he is and is one of the most coveted free agents in this year's free agency class. Would the Nets be willing to facilitate a sign and trade with Kyrie Irving if he says, that's where I want to go to? Because that's what all of this comes down to. If Kyrie Irving says, I want to go to Dallas, guess where Kyrie Irving is going to go? He's coming to the Dallas Mavericks. You say, Kevin, he's not worth the headache. He's not worth this. He's not worth that. What he is one of the most talented players in the game today. While, yes, the baggage that comes with Kyrie Irving may be too much for some to handle, but you take the chance, if you're the Dallas Mavericks, to possibly turn things around with Kyrie Irving because of the respect he already has for Nico Harrison and for Jason Kidd. Because one of the underrated parts about the whole thing in Brooklyn, we don't necessarily know if Steve Nash is really good at this when it comes to coaching. We know that Jason Kidd has proven himself to now be a really good head coach in this league by virtue of what he did in his first year, taking this team all the way to the Western Conference Finals, something they hadn't done since the last time he was here as a player. So all of those things in tandem make it seem, while it not be impossible, it probably is. But at the same time, more than anything, because here's where I want you to hone in on this. More than anything now, Nico Harrison has put this organization in the conversations when it comes to the biggest names in the NBA. And that is exactly why he was brought here in the first place, to put the Mavericks in conversation with these types of players, no matter who they are. And that, to me, even if Kyrie Irving obviously doesn't come to Dallas, that's the most important takeaway that you can have here. Nico Harrison now has the Mavericks with a seat at the table with the biggest names in the game, which should give you confidence that they will find creative ways to get this team better, building around Luka Doncic. They've already done it by getting rid of Kristaps Porzingis and getting Spencer Dinwiddie and Davis Bertans here. Spencer Dinwiddie, a good contributor to this team during the second half of the year. He did it again by getting rid of a bunch of expiring contracts and bringing in a talented Christian Wood, who is in a contract here that should be motivated to play at a high level alongside Luka Doncic, to go alongside him this upcoming year. This team is going to get extremely creative in how it builds because, again, they don't have any cap space to really be out here doing much of anything when it comes to signing players outright. But if they can find a way to somehow get Kyrie Irving to this Mavericks team, I'm not going to lie to you, I'd be on board with it. You say, Kevin, the talent is there. The skill level is there. The fit with Luka Doncic is there. In fact, Rick Bucher, who heard from one rival executive in the Eastern Conference, say, yeah, Kyrie Irving would actually be a perfect fit alongside Luka Doncic in Dallas. He's got the star power, does Luka Doncic, to play alongside him. The coach is respected, and the general manager in the front office he extremely respects. And now, here's the other part. Kyrie Irving is at a point in his career where he's got a decision to make. He's got a decision on whether or not he wants to be remembered as a guy that will be remembered as one of the best point guards, one of the best scoring guards that the league has seen, or be a guy that continued to destroy franchise after franchise in his wake on the way out the door. That is where Kyrie Irving is at this point in his career, whether he goes to Los Angeles with the Lakers or the Clippers, if he goes to the Knicks, if he goes to the Heat, if he comes to Dallas, if he goes to Philadelphia. He has a decision to make about what his legacy and his future looks like. And if he decides that coming to Dallas will be the best fit for his legacy and the opportunity to best win championships, it might be the best move for him. And if he says so, he's coming here. How Dallas facilitates that move is up to them, and what Brooklyn would have no choice in doing, because here is what Kyrie Irving has the power to do. He can go to Brooklyn and opt into his deal and say, go ahead and get me out of here, or he can basically walk in free agency because his player option is his own. It's not the Nets, it's his player option. If he decides to decline it and walk, he can go where he wants to go. I don't think he's going to take $6 million on a taxpayer mid-level exception to go play in Los Angeles, because who's foregoing $30 million, which Kyrie Irving would have to do. But if he decides that this is the place, Dallas I'm talking about, that he wants to go to, the Mavericks should do it. And they should do it without thinking about it. Just because we may feel like on the outside looking in, it may be a wrong fit when it comes to the personality type, guess what the talent matters most is in the league? It's the fact that talent does matter most in the NBA. And again, for me personally, I believe in the culture that the Mavericks are building to be able to withstand someone like Kyrie Irving, because here's what he'll have to do if he comes here. Fall in line with what this organization is building around its supernova superstar and Luka Doncic. And if Kyrie Irving can't get with that program, guess what he can do? He can get out. That's the part that Nico Harrison has shown, that if a player doesn't fit with this team, he has no problem moving said player. And if that's the case, you should have confidence in this organization's decision-making, even based on just the first year of them doing this. I'm talking about Nico Harrison here, and more importantly, how they need to do it around this player and Luka Doncic. That, to me, is the most exciting part here. that the Mavericks are now in these conversations for these kinds of players, no matter how you may feel about the personality type. The talent is too good. It's prodigious. And more importantly, the Mavericks have a culture that I think can withstand the ability to handle someone like Kyrie Irving. And if you believe that like I do, you squeeze that juice and you figure out the best way to make it work. Because instantly, the Mavericks become title contenders. I don't say that lightly. If Kyrie Irving is part of your team, you are a championship contender with that supernova and Luka Doncic leading the way. Sign me up for that 10 times out of 10. It's been Inside the Mavs right here on Kevin Gray Sports. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Kevin Gray Sports. Subscribe to Kevin Gray Sports here on YouTube. And you can, of course, catch me on your home with the Dallas Cowboys and Texas Rangers 105 through the Fan. And, of course, I'm your Mavericks insider for 105.3 The Fan. This has been Inside the Mavs on Kevin Gray Sports. I'll talk to you later. Peace.